UK doctor jailed for Islamic circumcision mutilation. And I'm going to warn you guys, the details of this when I was doing my research had me doing this at my computer. I was like it's bad. Okay, so just to be forewarned. A UK doctor turned butchering profiteer Mohammad Siddiqui has been sentenced to over 5 years in prison for carrying out gruesome and reckless circumcisions on young boys using rusty, unsanitized instruments. Despite being struck off by the General Medical Council, so basically he was a doctor and then they removed his license because of how bad his practices were. The 58-year-old continued his illegal mobile circumcision service, leaving children screaming in agony with at least one rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. Prosecutor Ben Douglas-Jones KC condemned Siddiqui's greed, stating that he cut corners to maximize profits at the cost of horrific suffering. Among Okay, guys, this is so grim. Among the grim discoveries in his Toyota was a circumcision immobilizer used to forcibly restrain children, a device deemed unacceptable in NHS practice. The National Secular Society slammed the case as further proof that ritual circumcision is painful, dangerous, medically unnecessary, and irreversible, with Dr. Alejandro Sanchez insisting that boys must be protected from ritual circumcision until they are old enough to decide for themselves. So the situation here is so bad because I did not realize, Armin, that non medically necessary circumcision is completely unregulated in the United Kingdom.
No way.
So this guy was going around and he would come to your house and circumcise your sons literally just on your dining room table while they're restrained. He would sometimes put anesthetic cream on them, but only do it but then start to circumcise them immediately. So there was no anesthesia. And you might be like, "Oh, well, he's just doing it on like babies and babies don't remember anyways," as if that's like okay. No, 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 no. He would do this on 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. He did this on a teenager. He did this on a boy 15 years old, fully conscious. Okay. These cases are so bad that they found that he had implements that still had skin tissue on it and medical instruments that were rusty. And male circumcision remains unregulated. And he grievously harmed these boys. One mother has been left traumatized with the thought that letting Siddiqui operate on her son may have caused lifelong damage to his penis. The boy is due to be seen by a pediatric specialist. His circumcisions variously left boys' penises as black, necrotic, smelling foul, inverted, and not normal. One boy was so badly injured that he had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks and undergo a spinal tap. One boy was so grievously harmed that some of the anesthetic that was administered caused a severe adverse reaction so that the child nearly died. Other times, he would just put a little cream and then just go to do it so that the child experienced a gratuitous infliction of pain with deliberate and the court found that he practiced a deliberate disregard for the welfare of children. It's horrific. It is absolutely horrific. And then there's many questions about why in the UK the police failed to act, because there were instances where there was another doctor in Nottingham who had twice circumcised boys without the adequate parental consent. And this other doctor was arrested, but then never prosecuted. And it's one of these instances where they're like, how was this allowed to continue? Because we knew that there were signs and it had come up multiple times before. Um, it's horrific and disgusting, and I just want to use this to emphasize that ritual genital mutilation is unacceptable, it's disgusting, and we shouldn't, like, make any excuses for it just because we think it's okay to happen to boys, like it's more normalized. I think ritualized circumcision is disgusting no matter what. And the fact that it is completely unregulated and you do not have to be a doctor to practice this is deeply disturbing. Deeply disturbing. Now, other people, like people at the National Secular Society, who do really good work. I'm a big fan of the National Secular Society in the UK. Um, they have said that instances like this should not be like a call to medicalize this practice. Like that actually validates this practice. We should be banning and criminalizing this practice because there is no circumstance in which a parent would be allowed to ritually remove healthy, non medically necessary body parts from their child, and we would accept that that is not an endangerment of child welfare. If there was a parent that was ritually removing body parts from their child that was not medically necessary, we would be horrified and think that this person is endangering the welfare of this child that is helpless in the face of what their parents are doing to them. Like it's unacceptable. And to me, I think the only intellectually consistent position is that it should be completely banned and criminalized. The problem is that I'm knowledgeable enough to know that there's actually going to be like legitimately no medical will to do that. There's going to be, excuse me, political will to do that.
What's gonna happen to him?
Um, Let me remind myself of what his sentence was. I actually don't know if he's been sentenced yet. Um,
He got
oh my
arrested.
god.
He's
The
in
police
jail.
found a hook and serrated wheel with rust and skin on it among Siddiqui's medical instruments during their investigation.
Oh my
Many of
God.
his instruments had not been properly sterilized. Like, when I was
What
doing research on this, there
fuck?
are so many little details about this case that are nightmarish. And I categorically refuse to accept that male circumcision is palatable. Um uh has he been sentenced yet?
Maybe he hasn't been sentenced yet.
Jailed. Yes, excuse me. He's been jailed for he has been sentenced to 5 years and 7 months.
Oh, okay. I mean, imagine if somebody did that to your child. Fucking hell. Imagine go through the experience. Imagine what the kind of parents would let somebody do this to their child. I don't understand. I don't get the parents. I think the parents should be punished as well. I don't know.
So basically, partially it's because of how this is allowed to continue under the scope of the law. Like this is an unregulated practice. Um and this is a man who had previously had a doctor's license. He was previously a practicing doctor, and in his free time he would be doing home visits to carry out circumcisions for money. And then later, he was removed from the General Medical Council register, but he still continued to do the circumcisions. So basically, according to the victim statement that I was reading in uh, for research, there was a parent saying that there is, and I kind of get this. She was saying that there is a power dynamic of authority when you interact with someone who is a doctor or has received medical training. You're like, "Oh, they're a doctor, they have authority on this, they have knowledge on this, like they must know what to do." And so you entrust them.
I don't know. If you're a parent, I think you should do a lot more research when somebody is going to basically coming with a knife at your child. I mean, I do more research if I'm trying to buy a car. I wouldn't trust authority figure like I'm investing a lot of money, and this is like that's just money. This is my freaking child. Somebody is going to cut my child. Like I'm thinking, like even based on Islamic standards, I think you should be doing a lot more research with regards to who's going to be like who you're handing your child to. I don't know. I think like this is an absolute failure.
Well, I mean, there has to be some responsibility there. I mean, at the point that the doctor is physically restraining your child and setting them up without anesthesia to be operated on your dining room table, like, at
Yeah, I
what
mean that
point
doesn't look.
do you stop and
Yeah,
pause?
that look exactly like I'm not gonna like. Huh? They're doing an operation on my son's penis on the dining room. At some point, I'm gonna be like, maybe this authority figure is not that authoritative. Like I don't know. Like at some point, like if that was not a red flag, I think you fail as a parent. You have failed as a parent. I don't know. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
that is. I think these people are failures. Let's just quickly do the comments that the highlighted. So read this one.
Yeah, so this person is commenting, "It's horrifying that someone in a position of trust like a doctor could act with such disregard for safety and well-being, especially involving children. The fact that he continued despite being struck off shows how broken the system can be when it comes to accountability." Exactly.
Mm.
Um, and this person is making a joke saying, "I'm surprised he didn't ask to be tried in a Sharia court, assuming that is an option." Okay, I think this
Mm.
is a joke, or maybe they don't understand. Like, no, in this context, it's not an option.
Not
Um,
yet. Not yet. So maybe talk to us in 5 years. Maybe it would be an option into the UK. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, let's.
Um, any ban must apply to all circumcisions, not just to Muslims, but the government won't ban it because of anti quote unquote anti-Semitic propaganda. I'm a little bit
Okay.
confused by the statement, but basically, if there was a push to ban circumcision across the board, yes, there would be people that cry anti-Semitism.
Yeah, but that's not going to be the main concern. Especially because you're going to be able to find a lot of secular Jews who are going to be like supporting you and be like, yeah, no, this is not anti-Semitic. This is bullshit. I think the main concern would be the Islamic community's reaction. With regards to it being anti-Semitic, I don't think you're gonna be worried about that too much. I mean, I'm sure that some
Disagree.
Jews will have a pushback against it, but the main concern is the Islamic community, not the Jewish community.
No, I disagree.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Tell me.
that's not the experience in America. That's not the experience in America.
Hmm.
When there have been calls where there was simply a measure that was being proposed in New York. Well, let me pull up my notes that
Yeah,
basically, like,
I
you
actually,
have,
I agree with you. You're talking about America. I was talking about the UK. Relative the concern in the UK, I think, would be mostly the Islamic community. In United
I
States, the Islamic
disagree.
community is not okay. So go on.
Well, basically, it's like, how would the world react in at large? This would be painted as anti-Semitic at large. Like, there was a doctor in Ireland that got jailed for doing a circumcision, and I can't remember the exact circumstances. I was trying to find it earlier today, and I couldn't find the right details. But in someone like as large of a figure as Carolyn Glick was going on Twitter blasting how this is an anti-Semitism, this is attack on the Jewish people, all this stuff. I looked up the details. It was because the dude did it completely illegally.
Mm,
There's been efforts in the United States that for if you're going to do the Jewish practice of sucking the penis after completing the circumcision, when the mohel does it, that they have to um have like certain standards, or there was some sort of document that needed to be signed, blah blah blah. Like there was a huge push within the local Jewish community to like not allow that kind of thing. There's only been a single city in the legislature in the entire United States that has ever considered an effort to ban circumcision. It was in San Francisco. It failed so
mm,
hard that communities pushed to implement a law which is still in effect that it is illegal to ban it. So
right.
not only did the point to ban it fail, they actually implemented a law that said that you can never ban this.
So, so I don't think this negates what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's no pushback. I'm not saying people are not going to call it anti-Semitic. I'm saying there is good. Of course, there's going to be a pushback. We always have religious people in other communities that will stand against you. It's against progress in every community, and that exists. I'm not denying its existence. Okay, I'm just saying that a community of violent people, it's always a bigger concern. Not that these are not these other people are not a concern and that they're not going to push back. There's always going to be a pushback. Christians will push back if we come for their values. Jews will push back. Hindus will push back. Everybody will push back. But there's one of these communities that will just do more than pushing back. And I always think that they are just more of a concern, not that the other people are not a concern. I'm not dismissing that. Does that make
Okay, well, I
sense?
didn't understand that that was specifically what were you referring to, the threat of violence.
Yeah, I'm talking about relevant concern, not like the non-existence of concern. That's what I was saying. But yeah, I completely agree with that. I also celebrate. You remember the Danish? They banned both halal meat and kosher meat in Denmark, and they got pushback from both sides, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're going for this." Right? So we praise them. We praise them. We said when both Muslims and religious Jews are upset about something, you must be doing something right. Remember, we had that news. But again, I'm also saying that we are going to find more Jews, ethnic Jews, that would support this. That would come with like, yeah, this is fucking bullshit. Like, within the
Based
Jewish
on what data?
community, huh?
Based on what are you saying that?
Based on the
I don't think we
support
have any
for
data to demonstrate that.
we we do have data to that anti-religious anti-religious practice views exists higher among Jewish ethnicity than any other ethnicity, any other group of people. They have much higher percentage of the population that are secular.
That's different than the
That are
attitudes towards circumcision.
Yeah, well, that's what I've seen. We could look into that maybe deeper more. That's my impression. Maybe it's wrong.
Someone is giving me a really Carlo, do you think this is a dunk saying, Susanna, more Gentiles are circumcised in the US than Jews? Yeah, because there are more Gentiles than Jews. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't like it. I really don't care who does it. I think it's disgusting. I think it's wrong.
It's disgusting. Yeah, it's disgusting. It is. I mean, we agree with that. That's disgusting. Cutting children is bad. Cutting children, cutting infants without their consent, cutting people without their consent is bad. And last time I checked, infants can't give consent.
Also, the holes in the law that allow this to happen, like unregulated and not by medical doctors, is like horrifying to me.
Yeah, and also the fact that infants forget it is irrelevant. They're experiencing the pain at the time. Circumcision on boys happens with either no anesthetics or very low level of anesthetics because they can't. It's bad for the infants, and they experience it. And they experience a lot of people like, oh, infants don't experience pain this in the same level as adults do. Actually, yes, they experience it more. Right. So studies actually show that they're feeling that this torture. You're torturing an infant. Oh, but they're gonna forget it later. Okay, I don't give a fuck. They're experiencing the pain at the time that you're doing it. So fuck you.
Yeah, well, and also it does like boys that are much older do get circumcised.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't only
But it's a
happen to
crime
babies.
even if they forget it. Like, what if I came and tortured you and then did a Men in Black thing in front of you, and then you forget all that torture? Would that make it okay? Like, you were experiencing the pain when I was doing that to you. That is a crime. That is immoral.
Hmm.
It's so amazing that people come and but tell us that, oh, you cannot have morality if you're an atheist, and then they defend this. Like, okay, sure, like whatever you call morality, if I don't have that, I don't want to have that. Okay, you keep your morality when you're excusing this fucking bullshit.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Sorry,
Let's
I'm
move
just
on.
thinking the people getting mad in the live chat. I don't care if you've been circumcised. I don't think it should happen to a single other child.
Yeah. That's, oh, it happened to me and I'm happy. Well, then you should have chosen to do that when you were an adult. That's fucking bullshit. Just because you're okay with it, it doesn't excuse it. God damn it. Yeah.
Ay ay ay.
Wow. Great observation. What does that mean even? I don't understand.
You're a woman, so I shouldn't care about grievous harm done to children. Okay, Carl, if you really feel like I shouldn't care about this because I'm a woman, I hope like you're not one of these dudes that ever is like into men's rights. I hope you never like are into red pill shit and then complain about the modern women and how they don't care about the struggle of men and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I have that opinion. I have the same opinion over female circumcision, or better said, genital mutilation. So can I not have that opinion about female genital mutilation being bad because I'm a man? That's fucking bullshit. I'm anti-hijab. I'm making a comment about uh, women, something that is regarded as about women, and I'm anti-hijab. Should I not have an opinion about that? That's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the next news. Clappable. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to highlight Alriz's comment saying, Susanna, you're wonderful. Thank you for all your work and efforts. I love you. Oh, thank you, Alriz. That's
Oh,
really
thank
nice.
you.
I like it when people say that to Susie. I enjoy reading, guys. When people compliment Susie in the live chat, I enjoy it so much more than when people even compliment me, because I really do think that she doesn't get the credit that she deserves. So I really like to see that in the chat. It makes me happy. And the Asian American just gave us a super chat saying Changiz Khan outlawed circumcision. Well, he went for the head instead of the penis more often. He'll like, yeah, let's not cut people's penises, but he was in favor of cutting people's heads off more. And so I can't give credit to him over that. Okay, so as much as I'm against mutilating people's penises without their consent, I am more against mutilating their heads without their consent. So no credit to Genghis Khan. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.